Yes, sir.
All right. So ayan. So, balikan lang natin, no? So, again, no, remember, biomolecules, no, or biopolymers, these are the substances that comprise the subject biochemistry, no? These are substances which are essential to life. They comprise or they compose the cell, all right? Now, balikan lang natin mga sinabi ko, no? Kasi nga, na ang daming technical difficulties, no? Ayan, napapakamot na lang ako. So, you have your carbohydrates, no? Composed of simple sugars or the monosaccharides. Now, in carbohydrates, no, the bonds, no, are called glycosidic bonds. All right. And then we proceed to your proteins, no? The monomeric units of proteins are your amino acids, no? And in proteins, amino acids are connected by peptide bonds. Okay? And then sa nucleic acids naman, no? The monomeric units are your nucleotides. Okay? Yeah, when you say nucleotides, these are sugar plus phosphate plus the nitrogenous base. No? Ayan. And then they are connected by phosphodiester bonds. No? And then finally, no, meron tayong lipids. And lipids comprise a group of substances that are very diverse, no, in terms of structure. No? They are not polymeric. All right? Ayan. So we'll discuss lipids naman immediately after. No? Hindi lang, may hepa yung ano natin. Yung screen. Ayan. Okay. So, discuss lipids na yun na one. Okay, so medyo naanin na natin saglit kasi mabilis lang talaga to for the general structure of the cell, okay? Now remember that there are basically two types of cells, no? You have your prokaryotic cell and your eukaryotic cell, okay? So meron tayong prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Ayan. And then remember that between these two cells, no, ang difference natin ay yung prokaryotic cells, these are cells, okay, which do not have, no, membrane-bound organelles, no. Ayan. So yun yung key term natin, ha. Ayan. So let me just type it down here. Okay, hold on. Ayun. Ayan. Sorry, ayan. Patayin ko na lang. Prokaryotic cells and your eukaryotic cells. Ayan. Kikita ba or gandahan natin? Yeah, so these are your prokaryotes and your eukaryotes. Sa whiteboard. Ayan. Tapos, I think I have a problem with my driver. No? So, hindi rin gumagalaw ito. And I'll fix it later, no, during lunchtime. Hindi ako nagla-lunch for that. Okay. So, ano, mano-mano lang muna tayo ngayon. Okay, and so again, no, let's differentiate these two substances. You have your prokaryotic cells and you have your eukaryotic cells. So prokaryotic cells are cells, no, containing only plasma membrane, cytosol, and a genetic material, no, which we call the nucleosomes, no. And while your eukaryotic cells, okay, eukaryotic cells are cells, no, that contain membrane-bound organelles. Okay, so yun yung key doon, no? Pag sinabing eukaryotic cells is contain membrane-bound organelles. Okay, yeah. Now take note that all living cells, no, all cells, no, are composed only of these three components. You have the plasma membrane. Okay, so whether it is eukaryotic or prokaryotic, all cells have the plasma membrane. Okay, and the plasma membrane, remember, is comprised of, ano yung laman niya? You have your lipids. Okay, yes, you have your phospholipids and your embedded proteins. No, yan. So remember that plasma membranes, no, comprise of phospholipids, no, and proteins, no, that are embedded in the fluid mosaic, no, nature of your plasma membrane. Okay, so take note of the term. Ayan, so let me write it down here. Ayan. Medyo di pa ako makapag-annotate ngayon, no? Because of my problem. Yeah, so fluid mosaic model. This is the model, no, that was proposed, no, on the structure of your plasma membrane, no, fluid mosaic model. So for those who are in this room, sulat din ako dito. Ayan. So remember that in the fluid mosaic model, right, it is said na that the lipids, no, in the plasma membrane float, no, like they are in a fluid, no, material. Okay, yeah. So nagpa-float lang sila. It's not a rigid structure. Okay, so kunwari lumabas sa board exam, no, or lumabas sa kahit anong exam na no? Kung rigid ba ang plasma membrane? The answer is no. No, it is a fluid, no? According to the fluid mosaic model. Now, it is mosaic, no? It is mosaic kasi it is composed of different substances. Okay, so meron siyang lipids, meron siyang proteins, no? And they are in the plasma membrane, no? In varied positions. Okay, so similar to a mosaic. Alright? Ayan. So that's one key component of a cell. The other key component of the cell is the cytosol. Okay? Yeah, so remember that all cells have these, no, cytosol. So pag sinabi natin cytosol or cytoplasm, ayan, cytosol or cytoplasm, see, pag sinabi natin cytosol or cytoplasm, ayan. Ayan. So pag sinabi natin cytosol or cytoplasm, okay, so that's basically the fluid where all these substances, no, float, no? It is what comprises the cell. Okay. For eukaryotic organisms, no, the organelles, no, the organelles are in your cytoplasm. Okay. While in your prokaryotic cells, even the genetic material, no, is just floating in the cytoplasm. Okay? Then the third part, which is common in all cells. Kasi ang for example, no, by the way, mahilig yan sa mga which of the following is, not, no, yung mga ganun. Except, no, yung mga ganun eh. Yung dapat basahin mo ng maigi yung tanong. Ang tinatanong ba, which is not, no? Ayan. Bakit palagi yung not yung hinahanap? Parang bakit ba natin laging hanap yung mga hindi naman dapat hinahanap, no? Alright, so the third component is the genetic material. Okay, so for the eukaryotic cell, okay, take note, for the eukaryotic cell, that is actually the nucleus. Okay, kasi when you say nucleus, it is that organelle, okay? It is a double membrane organelle containing the DNA or RNA of the organism. All right? Ayan. So remember, nucleus is a double membrane. It's a double membrane organelle, right? Now, for prokaryotes, like your bacteria, they actually don't have this membrane-bound organelle, no? But instead, they have the genetic material just floating around, no, in the cytoplasm, okay? Or in the cytosol. So ang tawag natin doon sa condensed material, no, which contains the gene of the bacteria or the prokaryotes ay nucleoid. No? Yeah, so nucleoid. And so that's basically the genome, no, of the organism. All right? Ayan. So in this particular slide, na maliit siya, lakihan natin. Recording is in progress. Ayan. Oh, ayan. Okay, so this is what I have been mentioning, no? A while back. Feeling ko ganito lang na gawin natin, natakihan na lang natin. Ayan, so eukaryotes, no, eu means new, no, bago, no, new. Tas karyo comes from the Greek term, kernel, no, karyon, kernel. Ayan, new kernel, no, so they have a membrane, no, ayan, enclosing the organelles, no. Pag sinabi natin eukaryotes, ito rin yung sinabi natin kanina with eukaryotic cells. And then prokaryotes, no, primordial kernel. So, ayan, pro means primordial. And then karyon is kernel. No? So primordial kernel without, no, envelopes. No? Ayan, so they don't have membrane-bound organelles. All right. Now, when we classify organisms, we actually have, no, three domains, five kingdoms, and two super domains. Oh, ayan. So, diba, intindi, no? Daming classification ng organisms. Ayan. So, when you say super domains, dalawa lang yun, no? You have the prokarya and the eukarya. No? Ayan, dalawa lang. The prokarya and the eukarya. Ito na yun. Okay? Ayan. So, the eukaryotes, of course, would comprise your sino-sino sila. Ayan. So, yung mga eukaryotes natin, lagyan natin magsulat. Ayan. So, your eukaryotes are what? Ayan. So, pag sinabi natin yung eukaryotes, you have your protista. Ayan. So, yung protists, no, also known as protozoans. Maliit ito, no? Protozoans. Ayan. Ayun, pwede na. Ayan, nasa ka. Ayan. Actually, kagabi ko lang kasi nalaman may online, ano? So, so, gulat ko eh. Yan, hindi ko na-testing yung mga gamit ko. Alright, so we have the protista or the protozoans. Ayan, these are your unicellular, no? They may be free living or parasitic na eukaryotes. Okay? Ayan. Ulitin natin yun no? Unicellular eukaryotes. Okay? Ayan. Those are your protista or your protozoans. Okay? Now, your protista or protozoans somehow share they share yung characteristics, no, of your prokaryotes, but they are not prokaryotes. Ayan. Kasi 'di ba, kung isipin niyo unicellular lang sila, isang single-celled organisms, but they are eukaryotic. Alright, so tanda na huwag kayo confused doon kasi mahilig yan yung board exam, no? Which of the following is not is not prokaryote, no? Ayan, ganun. Pang-confuse nila yan. Now, your protozoans or protista, no, or the protists, no, can be parasitic or they can also be free living. Okay, organisms. No? They don't have to be parasites. And so aside from your protista or your protozoans, you also have your fungi. Ayan. So your fungi, the fungi can be molds or yeasts. Ayan. Molds or yeast. Ayan. Now, remember that fungi are also eukaryotic organisms. Okay? They may be single cell or they may be multi-cell organisms. Okay? Yung single-celled organisms, no, under the kingdom, fungi ay yung tinatawag natin yeasts. Ayan, single-celled lang sila. No? But they tend to also become filamentous. No? Ayan, they tend to become filamentous para silang filaments, strands of hair. Okay? And yun yung ating mga molds, no? And even yung mushrooms na alam natin, they are actually filamentous. Okay? Yeah. Now, fungi has this property that we know as dimorphism. Ayan. So, anong ibig sabihin itong dimorphism? These organisms, no, can change ayan, they can change their structure, no? Their structure, whether they are in a house or in their natural environment. Yeah, so remember na for fungi, they tend to become single cells, no? They tend to become yeasts, no? If they are inside, no, their host. Okay, pag nasa loob sila ng kanilang host, sila ay yeast, no? Unicellular. Okay? Now, if no, they are in their natural state, no, they are filamentous. Ayan. So, dimorphic sila. No? So, they can choose yung structure, yung appearance no, that they can show. Alright? Ayan. Alright. So, next we have the kingdom. Ayan. So, after the fungi, ay syempre si plants. Ayan. So, you have your plants. And of course, after that, you have your animals. Okay? So basically, the four kingdoms, no, these four kingdoms are eukaryotic organisms. They are eukaryotes. They are in the super domain, no, called eukarya. Okay? Ayan, so eukarya, ayan, so parang eukaryotes lang naman yun. Eukarya. Right? In some other conferences, eukaryota, yung tawag sa eukaryota. And so they're basically the same. All right? Ayan. Now, the other superdomain no, is your prokarya. So pag sinabi naman natin prokarya, sila si Archaebacteria at saka si Eubacteria. Ayan. So sila naman itong dalawa. Alright, so si Archaebacteria at saka si Eubacteria. Okay? Now, based on the name, no, when you see the term archae, no, ibig sabihin archaic, no, sinauna. They have been living since the beginning of time. Okay? Ayan. And because of that, they have special properties. No? Ayan. So yung Archaebacteria, the Archaebacteria have special properties. And these special properties are the following. Teka, dilipat na naman po ako. Ayan. Ayan. They tend to, burahin natin ito. Oops. Ayan. So, the eukarya, no? The archaebacteria, nandun na pala tayo. Yan. The archaebacteria, ano, are prokaryotic organisms with special abilities. No? They tend to be able to withstand extreme temperatures, and those are what you call the extreme thermophiles. Yan, so pakihan natin. And so you have the extreme thermophiles, kita. And so you have the extreme thermophiles, no? They withstand high temperatures, sometimes even as high as 80 degrees Celsius or even more, no? And then we also have your extreme halophiles, and the extreme halophiles. So when you say extreme halophiles, they are able to survive in high salt conditions, no? And remember, salt kills regular bacteria. Okay, yan. But not the archaebacteria, no? Ayan. So these are your extreme halophiles. Another characteristic, no, of your archaebacteria ay yung ability to produce or generate methane, no? Ayan. So these are called your methanogens, no? Ayan. So these are the methanogens. Ayan. So basically, they comprise the different classes, no, of your archaebacteria. You have the extreme thermophiles, you have the extreme halophiles, and you have the methanogens. All right. Now, let's compare your archaebacteria with your eubacteria. O, ayan. So ito naman yung mga eubacteria. So your new bacteria, no? These are the bacteria that you probably was able to discuss fully in your microbiology and parasitology class, no? Yeah, and we know there are gram-positive bacteria, gram-negative bacteria, acid-fast bacteria, no? Oxidase-positive bacteria, and so on and so forth, no? And among these eubacteria are also your cyanobacteria, no? Ayan. Cyanobacteria are photosynthetic bacteria. Okay, ayan. And you have also have purple bacteria. Ito yung si chromoviolation, no? Chromobacterium violation, no? Purple bacteria, Streptococcus, and Lactobacteria, no? Now, what's the difference, no, between your archaebacteria and your eubacteria, no? Why does it have to be different, no? Bakit kailangan pa silang i-separate into two different categories, no? Yeah, so there are a couple of things that you have to remember, no? Dito talaga kailangan ko yung pagsulat. Okay, so dahil dyan, mag-type tayo, whiteboard tayo. Okay, and nakikita, or lakihan natin. Okay, so these are the things, no, that you have to remember, no, between archaebacteria and your bacteria. Ganito ko man din ang handwriting. Okay. Ayan. All right. So remember that the archaebacteria, no, the archaebacteria have a special cell wall. Okay. So instead of having a peptidoglycan cell wall, no, which is present in your eubacteria, so simulan na natin kay eubacteria. Remember that your eubacteria has the peptidoglycan cell wall. Peptidoglycan is also known as murine, right? And it's also known as murine. Parang okay naman pala sa laki, no? Pero kasi bagay ito sa inyo, no? Mga nandiyan na dito sa akin. Physical work. Pero wala na kayong mga susulat. So, bawasan natin ang. Ayan. So, remember that you bacteria have the peptidoglycan cell wall. Okay? Peptidoglycan is also known as murine. Okay? And this one is composed of, ayan, ito yung mga dapat nyo tandaan, N-acetyl muramic acid. Mali na ako na Pilipino. Uramic acid and N-acetyl glucosamine. These are, Ayan. So N-acetylglucosamine and N-acetylmuramic acid, no? So these are the glycosaminoglycans na tinatawag, okay? Glycosaminoglycans. Ayan. So these are your N-acetylmuramic acid and N-acetylglucosamine. Okay? Ayan. Now, another thing, no, that is characteristic of your bacteria is that their phospholipids are linked by ester bonds. And so ester linked phospholipids. Ayan. Alright. Yan yung characteristics ng inyong bacteria. Now, for archaebacteria, it's quite different. Ayan. So for archaebacteria, instead of having the peptidoglycan in the cell wall, they have the pseudo-peptidoglycan. Napakagaling, no? Ayan. So pseudo-peptidoglycan. So ibig sabihin ng pseudo is fake, no? Hindi totoo. Ayan. So pseudo. Ayan. So pseudo-peptidoglycan. Okay? Now, because it is pseudopeptidoglycan, then it is also known as your pseudomurine. Okay? Ayan. So remember yung term na murine, no? Very important yan. Now, instead of having no, N-acetylmuramic acid, no, and N-acetylglucosamine, what is present no, in your archaebacteria are N-acetyl tallose amino ronic acid. Yan, and N-acetylglucosamine. All right? Yan. And instead of having ester-linked phospholipids, no, your archaebacteria has ether-linked phospholipids. Alright? Ayan. So, yan yung pinagkaiba nila. No? Now, because of the difference in the structures of your archaebacteria and your eubacteria, no? They tend to have different characteristics. No? Mas capable of withstanding high temperature and high salt concentrations yung archaebacteria compared to your eubacteria. Alright? So, yan yung dahilan. No? Kung bakit meron tayo extreme thermophiles, extreme halophiles with archaebacteria and not with your eubacteria. Alright? Ayan. So, that's basically, no, differentiates the two prokaryotes. Alright? So, now let's go back, no, doon sa ating mga classifications, no, which I already mentioned to you. Ayan. So, pwede nang burahin pa. Ayan. Bubura tayo. Ayan. Okay. All right, so remember na there are two superdomains. No? Ayan. So remember that there are two superdomains. You have the eukarya, no? And the prokarya. All right? Tapos, sabi ko kanina, there are three domains. No? Ayan. So ano-ano itong domains na ito? So the three domains are this. No? So you have the eubacteria, you have the archaebacteria, both of which no, are actually under the same kingdom. Okay? And the same superdomain. No? They are both prokarya. And then the third ay yung eukarya. Okay? So yung mga eukaryotes. No? So yan na siya. So these are the three domains. Now remember that the three domains no, was proposed by Carl Linnaeus. Ayan, si Carl Linnaeus. Ayan. So siya yung nag-propose ng three-domain classification of organisms. Alright? And then, we also have your five-kingdom classification. No? Ayan. So medyo nagkaanan na natin yung four kingdoms kanina. Your prokaryotes are under monerans. No? Ayan. So monera or monerans. Ayan. You have the protista. Yeah, the protists or the protozoans. Third will be the fungi, no, or the fungi. Yeah, so sabi kasi ng mga Germans, fungi daw yun, hindi raw fungi. Kasi nga, yung kunwari, paano mo ba ipo-pronounce yung singular form ng fungi? Di ba fungus? O, di ba? Pinalitan mo lang yung US, naging G, naging J na yung G, no? Ayan, so fungi daw, fungi. Ayan. Pero sige, doon tayo sa fungi. Okay? Ayan. Ma'am, minsan, no, minsan sinusunod lang natin kung ano yung sinusunod lang nakararami. Alright? Yeah, but that's your fungi. These are your sa-isay natin ng monerans, these are the prokaryotes, your archaebacteria and your eubacteria. Your protista are the unicellular, okay, parasitic or free-living eukaryotes, okay? And then fungi are unicellular or multicellular eukaryotes, okay? They have the property called dimorphic property. No? They can have a mold form or a yeast form. And then, after the fungi or fungi, we have the plantae. Eh, isa pa to, no? Kaartihan dito eh, no? Ang tamang pronunciation daw ng plantae ay plantae, no? Yan, yung AE daw ay E lang talaga, no? According to classical Latin, no? Pero doon tayo sa mas magandang pakinggan. Plantae. Ayan. Nasa pangit, no? Plantae. No? Ayan. So, plantae. Pili ka naman. Ganun. Okay. And then, we also have the kingdom Animalia. Yeah. So, kingdom Animalia are the animals, no? So, if it is carnivores, no, to actually propose the three-domain classification of organisms, sino naman yung sisisihin natin doon sa five kingdom classification? Si Robert H. Whittaker. And Robert H. Whittaker. And or si R.H. Whittaker. Alright? Ayan. So he proposed the five kingdom classification. Alright? So it's important no, na at this point in time, medyo clear sa atin yung mga classes of organisms before we can actually proceed sa next part. Okay? So, yan lang naman. So, balik tayo doon sa aking sinishare. Ayan. Alright. Now, over here in this slide, no, you have the three domains of life. No? So, yan na yung in-explain ko kanina. Now, very briefly, daanan natin yung inyong prokaryotic organisms. Right? Ayan. Medyo special kasi siya. No? Ayan. Always, nag-micro na kayo, microbiology review. Yes, hindi ba? Yes. Okay, so, di ba, ang laging tinatanong dyan, gram-positive at saka yung gram-negative. So, walang kamatayang gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. So, let's talk about them a little bit, no? Ayan. So, remember that gram-positive bacteria have a thick peptidoglycan cell wall. Okay? Ayan. So, gram-positive bacteria have a thick peptidoglycan cell wall, while your gram-negative bacteria have a thin peptidoglycan cell wall. Okay? And outside of the cell of the peptidoglycan layer of your gram-negative bacteria, you have this outer membrane na tinatawag. No? Ito. Yeah, so ito yung outer membrane. Okay? Yeah, so outer membrane. Now remember that the outer membrane of your gram-negative bacteria ay lipid substance. Okay? It is a lipid substance. It is composed of lipopolysaccharide. And so sulat ko na lang ulit, no? And so lipopolysaccharide. Lipopolysaccharide. Okay? So the lipopolysaccharide is also your LPS. Ayan, narinig na yung LPS before. Ayan. Lipopolysaccharide or LPS is the endotoxin. It is the endotoxin. Okay? And it is the endotoxin which has a property, which is a property of producing fever. Okay? Kaya tinatawag rin siyang pyrogen. Okay? Yan, diba? Pyrogen, no? Another term na ginagamit natin. Pyrogen. Kasi yung endotoxin ay may capability to cause fever. Alright? Ayan. Now, the endotoxin or the lipopolysaccharide of the gram-negative bacteria is also its virulence factor. Okay? And so virulence factor kasi ibig sabihin, nagkakos kasi siya na virulence, no? Ayan. Or it attacks the host, no? When it is present. Alright? Ayan. Now, um, pagdating ninyo sa QC, no, malamang dadaanan nyo rin ito, okay? In the USP, we have an endotoxin test. Okay? Ayan. And ano yung, sino nakakaalala ng endotoxin test? Endotoxin test in the USP? It is your LEL, no? Ayan, LEL. Ayan, your Limulus amoebocyte Limulus amoebocyte lysate test. And bakit ito importante dito? No? Kasi yung inyong mga gram-negative bacteria, they would give positive result here. No? Sa Limulus amoebocyte lysate test. Okay? Ayan, ito yung gumagamit ng blood of the horseshoe crab. Okay? Ayan. Okay? Now, let's go back to gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria unless you have any questions so far. Ayan, nasa structures tayo. Okay, wala naman. Okay. Now, in gram testing, remember that there are three parts. Okay? And there are three parts in your gram testing. Okay? First is the use of the primary stain, which is your crystal violet. Okay? Second is the decolorization. Okay, with absolute alcohol or 95% alcohol. Sometimes pinapalitan nila yun. And then the third is the secondary staining, no? Ayan, or the counter staining using safranin. Okay, familiar? Ayan. Okay, so now remember that it is the peptidoglycan cell wall of your bacteria that absorbs the crystal violet. Okay? Yan. So the peptidoglycan in the cell wall of bacteria absorbs the crystal violet. Okay? In primary staining, yan, taga lang. Palitan natin ito ng steps. So number one is primary staining. Yan. Primary staining with crystal violet. Ayan. Okay? Now, in primary staining using crystal violet, dinadagdagan natin siya ng isang mordant. So, sino yung mordant natin? Si iodine, I2. Ayan. This is considered as a mordant. Okay. So remember na, sa primary staining you use crystal violet and iodine, no? Iodine is your mordant. No? Ayan. So ibig sabihin, it allows the crystal violet to precipitate, no, in the peptidoglycan layer to attach to it better. Okay? Yeah. Next, the second step is decolorization. And then the colorization. This one makes use of ethanol, no? So, pwede 95%, no? Ay 95% ethanol for decolorization. Now, this is where the difference lies, no? Between the gram-positive and the gram-negative bacteria. Remember that the gram-positive bacteria have a peptidoglycan cell wall, makapal, no? So, dahil makapal yung peptidoglycan in the cell wall of your gram-positive bacteria, hindi siya agad-agad na tatanggalan ng crystal violet, no? Ayan, so in the thick peptidoglycan cell wall of the gram-positive bacteria, the crystal violet remains after decolorization. Okay, it's difficult to remove, no, the crystal violet stain in the thick peptidoglycan cell wall of gram-positive bacteria. But for gram-negative bacteria, it's different, no? Remember, yung outer membrane of your gram-negative bacteria ay lipid. The lipid is dissolved in ethanol. No? Ayan. The lipid, the lipopolysaccharide, will be dissolved in ethanol, exposing the thin peptidoglycan layer of your gram-negative bacteria. All right? Hence, the crystal violet in the thin peptidoglycan cell wall of gram-negative bacteria gets decolorized by ethanol. Sumasama doon sa ethanol. Nadi-dissolve din siya. Alright? Thus, at this point, no, after decolorization, yung gram-negative bacteria is colorless. Okay? Your gram-positive bacteria is color blue, no? The color of crystal violet, blue or violet. Alright? So, that's the reason why we place the next stain, which is your counter stain. The counter stain is your safranin. Ayan. So, kita ba? I-next, i-enter ko na. Safranin. Okay? This one is colored red or pink in color. Yeah. Now, remember that at the point, at step number 2, your gram-negative bacteria is colorless. Okay? So when you add the counter stain, the peptidoglycan cell wall of your gram-negative bacteria will absorb the safranin, making the gram-negative bacterial cells pink or red in color. Tama? Okay? Samantala, no, your gram-positive bacteria still has that blue color. Hindi natanggal yung blue color niya. Alright? Now, dahil hindi natanggal yung blue color in your gram-positive bacteria, even if you add a counter stain, which is red, hindi mo makikita. No? You don't get to see, no, the red color of safranin kasi it doesn't have any much contrast. No? Wala siyang contrast doon sa blue color. Okay? Di ba? Pag magpapatong lang yung kulay, kaya medyo violet yung makikita ninyo, no, under the microscope. Alright? Yeah, so that basically explains the gram staining, which differentiates most bacteria into gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. And I believe, no, meron din naman kayo in your microbiology na tungkol naman sa acid-fast bacteria. No? Yan. So ang impart ko lang sa inyo sa acid-fast bacteria na may kinalaman sa biochem ay yung outer membrane niya. Yan. Yung outer membrane ng inyong acid-fast bacteria. So remember that the outer membrane of your acid-fast bacteria is made up of glycolic acid. Ayan. Take note din dito, no? Glycolic acid. Ito ko na ilagay. Acid-fast bacteria. Ayan. So ang outer membrane niya ay glycolic acid. No? This is a waxy substance. No? It's a waxy substance which is quite difficult stain, no, with regular stains. Alright? Ayan. So, yan yung isa pa, no, na important thing with regards to your new bacteria. Alright? Ayan. So, basically, yun na yun. No? So, you have your non-positive, your acid-fast bacteria. All this, no, we will also discuss in your microbiology. But I introduce it here, no, to introduce the molecules, which you will again hear, no, during our discussion. Alright? Ayan. So, punta na tayo doon sa ayan. Summary. No? Summary of the differences between prokaryotes and your eukaryotes. Ayan. So, do not forget, no, the following. Your prokaryotes are all unicellular. Okay? While your eukaryotes are multicellular, except for the protista, the protozoans, the only unicellular eukaryotes. Alright? At saka yung fungi, kapag yeast form siya. Alright? Unicellular din sila. And then, of course, the eukaryotic cells are much larger than the prokaryotic cells. Okay? The genome, no? The genome is also special. No? For your prokaryotes, the genome ay smaller, okay, than the genome of your eukaryotes. Bukod pa doon, remember this, no, that your eukaryotes, no, the eukaryotic organisms have what you call a nucleosome. Yeah, so, sino itong nucleosome? Oops. So, the nucleosome. Ayan. So, the nucleosome is a complex. No? It is a complex of histone. Ayan. It's a complex of histone proteins, no? 8 histone proteins, and the DNA. Ayan. So ito naman yung meron sa mga eukaryotes. No? So you have the histone proteins wound around your DNA. Now, I'll explain this later no? Pagdating natin sa nucleic acids. Alright? This makes your eukaryotic genome very compact. No? Ayan. So siya yung important for packing the genome of eukaryotic cells into chromosomes. Okay? Ayan. So, umiikot yung DNA doon sa histone proteins. Alright? In prokaryotes, walang ganon. No? Ayan. So, they just have the genome na floating in the cytoplasm. No? Ayan. So, at saka maliit lang naman siya. So, it doesn't need much packing. Now, another thing that is wild, no? Pagdating sa prokaryotes and eukaryotes is this. All the steps in the central dogma can occur simultaneously in prokaryotes. Pwedeng sabay-sabay nangyayari in replication, transcription, and translation. Okay? Remember that prokaryotes do not have compartments. No? Wala silang organelles. Okay? Yeah, so again, remember prokaryotes do not have organelles, they do not have compartments. So, the DNA gets replicated, okay, na dumadoble yung DNA ng prokaryotes, and then at the same time, no, yung DNA can be converted to mRNA, messenger RNA, no, which is the transcript, okay, needed for protein synthesis. Habang lumalabas yung mRNA, no, pwede na rin siya pumasok sa ribosome, no, kasi remember, that prokaryotes also have ribosome. No? Ayan. So ano yung size ng ribosome ng prokaryotes? 70S. No? Ayan, correct. No? Yeah, so you have the 30S and the 50S ribosome. No? Ayan. So remember prokaryotes have the 30S and the 50S ribosome. The smaller ribosomal subunit and the larger ribosomas. Parang gusto ko na mag-roll talaga doon. Ayan, and the larger and the smaller ribosomal subunits. Ganito tayo mag-roll. Ayan. So ito yung sa roots. Ganito yung itsura niyan. That's the smaller ribosomal subunit, tapos ito yung larger ribosomal subunit. For bacteria, meron kang 30S. No? Ayan, 30S din. And then this one is 50S. Ayan, for prokaryotes. Alright, ayan. In total, the entire ribosome ay 70S. Okay, ayan. So mamaya, no, explain natin kung bakit 30 plus 50, 70, no? Ayan. So labo, no? Ayan, labo po eh. Ayan. It's because of, ayan, the sedimentation. No? Ayan. So explain natin yung mamaya. For eukaryotes, yung ribosome niya ay 80. Pero ang smaller ribosomal subunit niya ay 40S. Ayan. Tapos 60S naman yung larger ribosomal subunit. The total size of the ribosome for your eukaryote ay 80S. Ayan. So 40 plus 60, 80. No? Ayan. Okay. Okay. Ayan. Now, I have to highlight this, no, na ribosome is not an organelle. Ayan. So, liwanagin natin yun na ribosome is not an organelle. Okay? Maraming nagkakamali kasi dyan. Which of the following, no, is not an organelle? Tapos, kasali sa choices si ribosome. No? Ribosome is a macromolecular complex composed of protein and RNA. Ayan. So, again, the ribosome is a macromolecular complex made up of protein and RNA. All right? Ayan. Now, that being said, both prokaryotes and eukaryotes have ribosomes. Right? So during the translation process, during the transcription process, no, pwede rin na yung peptide na-perform na rin in translation in prokaryotes kasi sama-sama sila. No? Imagine mo, parang ka nagluto ng, ang mga Pinoy daw, mahilig magluto ng lagyan mo ng tubig, magpakulo ka ng tubig sa lalagyan, tapos ilagay mo lahat ng gulay na mahanap mo, no? Ayan. So, kaya nabuo ang pakbet. So, yung pakbet, no? Kaya, ano pa ba yung mga usok ano yun, bulaklak sa Batangas, no? Ayan. Although hindi ako marunong magluto. Basta ihalo-halo mo lang daw yung mga gulay, no? Yun na yun, no? Meron ka ng ulam, no? Sa Western daw, sa Western countries, no? Lulutuin muna nila yung isang part, tapos isang part ulit in another pot, tapos saka nila paghahaluin, no? Sa plato, no? Ayan. Ganun daw, compartmentalized, no? Ang mga Pinoy para tayong prokaryotes, no? Ayan. So, so lahat ng lahat ng bagay, halo-halo lang. Ganon din yung bacteria, no? Ayan, so everything is there. So everything can happen all at once, no? Your replication, transcription, and translation can occur simultaneously. For eukaryotes, hindi. No? Because of the compartmentalization, okay, the DNA is replicated inside the nucleus, okay, then the mRNA transcript exits the nucleus and goes into the cytoplasm, okay? And then in the cytoplasm, it can interact with the ribosome for the translation, all right? Ayan, so hindi pwedeng sabay-sabay nagaganap yung processes, no, in the central dogma for your eukaryotes, all right? Another difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes ay yung cell division. For prokaryotes, there is what you call fission or bonding. No? Ayan. So basically, you have a mother cell, no, producing daughter cells which are identical, no, to the mother cell. No? Ayan. So yun yung ibig sabihin natin na fission or bonding. Okay? Yeah, so yung daughter cells are identical, no, to the mother or the parent cell. All right? That is why we have what you call colonies of bacteria. No? So bawat colony of bacteria, the visible manifestation of bacteria ay clones, no, of the same mother cell. All right? Yeah. Now remember that prokaryotes do not have mitosis. Although alam natin kasi yung term na mitosis, no, is also producing two daughter cells from a mother cell. No? Di ba pareho lang ng definition. But bonding and mitosis are different, no? Because there is no cytoskeleton, no? There is no alignment, no? There is no alignment of chromosomes or what you call the chromatids in prokaryotes. Okay? Sa eukaryotes, yes, no? Pag sinabi natin mitosis, no? Pag sinabi mitosis, ito yung nagkakaroon ng metaphase, di ba? Na nagkakaroon ng alignment of chromatids para bago mag-separate yung cell into two. Alright? Prokaryotes do not have cytoskeleton. Okay? Ayan, kaya wala silang ganun. There's no mitosis in prokaryotes. Alright? So for eukaryotes, aside from mitosis, no, meron din siya, of course, na meiosis naman. No? Ayan, meiosis wherein haploid cells are produced. Alright? Ayan. So mitosis, diploid cells pa rin naman yung produce. It's the same, no, as the mother cell. Pag meiosis, haploid cells yun ang produce. Alright? Ayan. So, nabanggit ko na yung tungkol doon sa cytoskeletal elements, no? Cytoskeleton present in eukaryotes. No? There are three types. No? Ayan. So sino nakakaalala ng tatlong uri, no, ng cytoskeletal elements? Teka lang, nagtatry ako maghanap na pagsusulatan. Okay, magbura muna tayo. Alright. Ayan, so you have your number one, microtubules. Ayan, so yung microtubules, these are made up of tubulin. So ayan, that's the protein present in your microtubules. Ito yung pinakamalaki, no, na cytoskeleton element. Okay? Remember that the microtubules are responsible for the scaffold, no, the scaffolding of the cell. Okay? Parang kunwari nagtatayo ka ng building, di ba, yung mga bakal, no? Ayan, scaffolding of the cell, that's the purpose of your microtubules, no? The tubulin. It can also be used for motility, no? Movement. Ayan. In what way? The flagella, no? The flagella of eukaryotic cells are made up of tubulin fibers. Okay? Ayan. So, for example, yung mga sperm cells, for example, o kaya yung iba pang sex cells of other eukaryotic organisms, meron silang flagella. Okay? Yan. So yung flagella nila ay gawa sa tubulin. fibers. Alright? Kaya sinasabing for motility yung microtubules. Number two, you have your intermediate fibers or intermediate filament. Ayan, the intermediate filament naman is used for the tensile strength, no? Tensile strength of your cell. No? Ayan, para hindi siya mag-liquefy, kumalas-kalas. Okay? Ayan, so that's your intermediate filament. And then lastly, you have your microfilament. The microfilament is the smallest, no, of the three. Ayan. So the microfilament is the smallest of the three. And the microfilament is made up of actin fibers. Ayan. So actin. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay actin filaments. Alright? Ayan. So the microfilaments purpose is for intracellular movements. So ayan. Di ba meron tayong tinatawag na cytoplasmic streaming? No, ayan. So pag sinabi natin cytoplasmic streaming, the ribosomes, no, the endoplasmic reticulum, gagalaw-galaw inside the cytoplasm, no, that's your cytoplasmic streaming. All right? Yan. So that's because of your microfilament. All right? Ayan. So again, they are organized from the most, no, from the largest, no, from the largest to the smallest. No, you have your microtubules, intermediate filament, and microfilament, all of which can only be found in eukaryotes. All right. Okay. So next is ano pa?
Guys, yung handouts nyo naka-send dun sa group lang. Gusto nyo yung available sa cellphone nyo.
Parang ito, after dito, tumingin kayo tumingin kayo sa green foliage sa labas. Yan, para ma-freshen yung mata ninyo. Yan. Kasi bakit pakilabas yun dito, no? Tingin nyo sa isa't isa ko. May hepa ka. You have a lot of bilirubin in your skin. Ayan. Pagkantahin nyo naman, no? Kahit kasi pakinggan mo, may hepa ka. Sabihan mo na lang, you have a lot of bilirubin in your skin. No? It shows. Para may natutunan tayo sa biochem. No? Yeah, kasi bilirubin is responsible for the skin and eye coloration ng my liver disease. Right? Okay. So next. Ito paulit-ulit ko na sinasabi, no? Membrane-bound organelles can only be found in eukaryotes, but not in your prokaryotes. And then finally, for metabolism, okay, remember that your prokaryotes do not have mitochondria. Okay? So, saan sila nagpo-produce ngayon ng energy? Or paano sila nagpo-produce ng energy? They have oxidative enzymes that are bound in their plasma membrane. Okay, yeah. So again, the oxidative enzymes of your prokaryotes are in the plasma membrane. Then wala silang mitochondria. The eukaryotes have mitochondria, no? And it is ang walang kamatayan. Mitochondria, or mitochondrion is the works of the cell. Di ba laging ganyan? No? So, na ako sa term na yan. So, it produces energy for the cells through oxidative phosphorylation. Okay? Which we will discuss later on. Ayan. Okay. So, now, let's proceed. Ayan. Okay, so let's talk about the compartmentalization of the processes in a cell. Right? Medyo maliit, so lakihan natin. Ayan. So bago ang lahat, let us first identify some parts of your cell which are important. Yes. So let's proceed to your smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Kasi tapos na tayo sa cytoplasm. Ayan, lakihan na lang natin. So remember that you have two endoplasmic reticulum. Okay? You have the smooth and you have the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay? So remember, rough is for ribosome. Okay? Yan. Di ba? RR. No? Kaya siya rough dahil yung butlig-butlig sa kanya ay yung ribosomes. Okay? And ribosomes are the macromolecular complexes required for protein synthesis. No? In other words, rough endoplasmic reticulum is for protein synthesis. All right? Next, you have your smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Ito na lang isipin ninyo, no? Pag lumabas ka ng bahay, ay lumabas ka ng ng kwarto na makinit, no? Tapos, pinagpawisan ka na, no? Pinagpawisan ka na hulas na yung mukha mo. Ang oily ng skin mo, girl, nag-smooth ng skin mo, no? Ayan, diba? Ayun. So kasi, yung oil, no? Kasi oily na, parang ako. Oo, no? Ayan. Smoothness na because of the oil. No? So, smooth endoplasmic reticulum for lipid synthesis oil. No? Ayan. Okay, so next we have your peroxisome. Ayan, nandun. Ayan. So, peroxisome. The peroxisome naman contains enzymes, no, that can detoxify certain substances, particularly the organic peroxides or even hydrogen peroxide. Okay, kaya siya tinawag na peroxisome. And these peroxides are usually produced, no, during fatty acid catabolism. All right, so kailangan yung detoxification by the peroxisome. So next is, ayan, so tingnan lang natin yung mga dito natin na pag-usapan. And the Golgi complex. And so the Golgi or the Golgi complex. Ayan. Remember that it packages the macromolecules. No? Ayan. It packages the macromolecules. It is where, for example, glycosylation of proteins happen. Okay? Yung mga modifications, no, in the biomolecules happen in the Golgi complex. Ayan. Next, we have the lysosome. No? Ayan. So yung lysosome naman, you have the lytic enzymes. No? Ayan. Kaya siya tinawag na lysosome. No? Lytic enzymes are present in this vesicle. No? And normally, the lysosome acts acts to recycle, right? To recycle the substances, no? Or the cells, no? The useless cells, no? Or yung useless macromolecules, no? Na produce in excess. Okay, so kailangan natin i-recycle yung kanilang monomeric units, pumapasok sila in the lysosome. Another function of your lysosome is, aside from recycling, no, the wastes, yung lysosome can also kill bacteria and viruses. Alright? Ayan. So lysosome, they digest these substances. And then, ano pa yung nalimutan natin dito? Ayan. The vacuole, no? Yung vacuole naman, vacuole is just a space, no? Usually water, it contains water. In plant cells, malaki yung water vacuole, no? That water vacuole provides turgidity in the cell of your plants. Turgid, no? Turgidity. And in animals, maliit lang yung water vacuole. Alright? So, those are the different parts of your cell. So, puntahan natin yung mga functions nila. So, in your plasma membrane, of course, you have the transport proteins, no? And you have the sodium potassium ATPase, for example. Okay? The one that is responsible for the transfer of nutrients in the cell. The lysosome is the waste basket kasi nga, it contains the lytic enzymes. The peroxisome is for fatty acid catabolism kasi peroxides are produced during fatty acid catabolism. You have your rough and your smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which are responsible for protein and lipid synthesis respectively. Then the Golgi apparatus for packaging and processing of macromolecules, including glycosylation of proteins. Mitochondria, it is where some of the energy-producing processes are occurring. No? Ayan, so dyan na po produce yung energy from ketone bodies, no? Yung ketogenesis, no? Doon nangyari. You have your oxidative phosphorylation, no? Your beta oxidation, no? Beta oxidation of fatty acids, no? Nangyayari din yun sa mitochondria. Alright? And then, the nucleus is, of course, the control center because it contains the genetic material, the genome. of the organism. Alright? Ayan. So, yan yung mga important compartments of our cell. Alright? So, any questions so far? Ayan, mabagal ba ako masyado? Ayan, hayaan mo, bibilis na. Ayan. Okay, so tatanong tayo sa lipids. Ay, hindi na ako nagpa-break pero pwede kayo lumabas. Ayan. Alright, so let's begin with lipids and related compounds. Alright? Hey. Now, for our discussions, no, um, ang pinaka-outline natin would be, first, we'll talk about the structure, no, of these biomolecules. We'll talk about their common uses or functions. Tapos, their biogenesis or their biosynthesis, and then their metabolism. All right? Ayan. So basically, yung basic outline of our discussions. All right? Ayan. So remember that lipids. Ayan. So lipids are actually comprised, yan, nabulol ako doon. They are comprised of substances having different chemical structures. Okay? Yeah, so they are a heterogeneous group of compounds, okay? Which are only related by their physical, no, properties rather than their chemical properties. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, iba-iba yung chemical structures nila, pero pare-pareho yung kanila physical properties. No? Remember that only two properties, no? Only two properties tend to compose, no, or combine your lipids. No? Ayan. Number one is their phobicity. No? And they are hydrophobic. No? They do not mix well with water. They are water insoluble. Okay? And then the second property is they are soluble in fat solvents. Okay? Ayan. So they are lipophilic. Okay? Ayan. So tanda, no? Hydrophobicity and lipophilicity are the two, no, important properties, no, that tend to combine the different compounds that we call your lipids. All right? Yeah, so they are water insoluble and they are soluble in fat solvents. Now, when we say fat solvents, no, sino-sino ba yon? Fat solvents are your, magsimula tayo sa pinaka non-polar. You have your hexane. Ayan, so you have your hexane, you have your petroleum ether, diethyl ether, acetone, and alcohol, ethanol. Alright? Ayan, so those are the fat solvents. Marami pang iba, no? Pero yun yung common na fat solvents na ginagamit natin. Alright? Ayan, so basta soluble sila doon, at hindi sila soluble sa water, they are considered as lipids. Now, they include your fats, oils, steroids, waxes, and related compounds. Okay? Ayan, so let's begin with the two classification of your glycerides. Ayan. Actually, simulan natin sa pinakasimula. No? When you say glycerides, okay, so glycerides, these are glyceryl esters of fatty acids. Okay? Okay, so remember that, ulitin natin yun. Glycerides, okay, these are glyceryl esters of fatty acids. So ito, no, you have two classes, no, of glycerides. So you have a simple lipid and a complex lipid. All right? Ayan. So, glycerol is over here. Ito yun. Nakalimutan ko pa. Kasali na sa discussion natin yung chemical tests. No? If there are chemical tests. Okay? Ayan. So, this is the structure of your glycerol. Okay? Ayan. So, basically, no, palitan mo lang ng H lahat ng ito. Okay? That's your glycerol. Okay? Or isulat natin siya para masaya. Okay? So mamaya kasi no, glycerol, no, hindi pala natin nag-guess. Okay, so glycerol 1, 2, 3, tapos CH2, OH, and kaya natin ito. Ayaw gumana lang pwede. Ayan, so OH, lagyan mo pa dito ng isa pang OH. Ayan. And then another one over here. Yan. H. Ayan. So, that's your glycerol. Okay? Ayan. So, CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH. So, basically, ito yun. This moiety, ayan, this moiety, that is your glycerol. Okay? Ayan. Palitan mo lang ng H yung mga nakadikit sa kanya. Alright? Okay. Now, the chemical test for glycerol, no, which is used no, to identify fats and fixed oils, no, ay tinatawag natin na acrolane test. Ayan. So, sabi ko na siya dito. Ayan, acrolane test. Ayan, acrolane test. Alright? So, ano ba itong acrolane test na ito? So, basically, no, acrolane test is when you dehydrate, no, when you dehydrate and oxidize your glycerol, no, with sodium bisulfate. Okay, so it will be formed. So for example, that is your glycerol. Ayan. Oops. Sana after lunch, gumana na ang mga dapat gumana. Okay, so this is your glycerol. It will be oxidized to this structure. This is aldehyde group. And so CHO. Ayan. Tapos, madidehydrate siya. CH2, ayan. CH2 yung dulo. Okay? So that is your acrolane. Ayan. So familiar naman sa skeletal structure of compounds. Sige. Sige, lagyan natin ang terminal methylene group. Ayan, so CH. Teka, susulat na lang ako na mas matino dito sa board. Ayan, pero for those online, dito siya. Ayan. So para malinaw. Ayan. Okay, lagyan ko ng H. Ayan. Okay. So that is your acronym. Okay. So you have to heat glycerol with sodium bisulfate. Okay. Sodium bisulfate. Baka nakalimutan natin yung structure ng sodium bisulfate. NaHSO4. Actually, mas madalas pala potassium. So, palitan natin. That actually, hindi naman nagmamatter. Ayan. So, yan, no? So, you have your glycerol. Sabi ko, nag-promise ako na susulat ako dito sa board for the purpose of those physically present. So, this is your glycerol. Tapos you boil this with potassium bisulfate. Ayan. And you produce your acrolane. So yung acrolane ay ito siya. This is aldehyde group. Sumabra ako ng carbon. And tapos, this is H. This is carbon. Tapos CH2. Ayan. Okay? So, or structure niya ay CHO. Tapos ganyan. This is acrolane. And don't worry, those who are online, kung ano yung nakasulat dyan sa board, yan din yung sinulat ko sa whiteboard. Okay? Ayan. Clear? Yeah, now, the acrolane has a distinct smell. Okay? So, the acrolane has a distinct smell. Mabaho. Okay? Ayan. So, this test will actually, you have to sniff, no, the smell para malaman mo may fat or fixed oil na present in your sample, no, through the acrolane test. Alright? Ayan. Now, going back to what I was saying, no, ang pinakauna natin dinidiscuss, ito, no, isusulat ko na lang muna sa board para lang meron din ako sinusundan na structure. Ayan. Ayan. So actually, don't worry those who are online. Nagsulat lang ako na outline sa board. Okay? Para hindi ako na-confuse kung saan na tayo. Alright. So let's begin with the triglycerides. Ayan. So when you say triglycerides, these are glyceryl esters. Okay? Yeah, so yun lang naman yung pinaka ibig sabihin. Actually, gawin natin siyang mas generic, no? Pag triglycerides kasi, ibig sabihin there are three fatty acids, no, present in the glycerol molecule. So, pag tinanggal ko yung tri, ginawa kong acyl, no, glycerides, ibig sabihin at least one fatty acid is present in the glycerol molecule. All right? The bonds between the fatty acid and glycerol ay tinatawag natin ester bond. Okay? So pag sinabi natin ester bond, that is basically this one. Palitan natin ang kulay. This is the ester bond. Ay kaso hindi nga pala nakita ang dilaw. So, ano tayo? Violet. This is the ester bond. And ester bond, and another ester bond. Okay, that's, ayan. So, I think kita. Belum kita dito. Ito. Ayan, kita na. Alright, so that's the ester bond. Ito. Okay? Again, pag sinabi natin acyl glycerides, okay? When you say acyl glycerides, they are fatty acids esterified to glycerols. Pag tatlong fatty acids yung nakakabit sa kanya, you call it triglyceride. Okay? Kapag generic, no? Acyl glycerides. Alright? So, your acyl glycerides can be a simple lipid na tinatawag. No? For example, you have here a triglyceride. Kasi all the three substances esterified to the glycerol molecule ay fatty acid. Kaya simple siya. Alright? Now, take note na yung triglyceride, no? Yung triglyceride, pwede rin siyang magkaroon ng mixed, no? Yan, pwede siyang maging mixed triglyceride. Okay? So, when you say mixed triglyceride, iba-ibang fatty acid yung nakakonect doon sa glycerol molecule. Alright? Ayan. So, for example, in one carbon, you have stearic acid. In another carbon, you have oleic acid. In another carbon, you have palmitic acid. Alright? Ayan. So, it's a mixed triglyceride. Alright? Pero kapag pare-pareho lang, no? Ayan. So, yun yung simple na triglyceride. Okay? Ayan. Now, aside from your simple lipid, you have your complex lipid, ayan, which is this one. Yeah, so in the complex lipid, you have, for example, a lecithin. No? Now, a complex lipid is basically a lipid, no? A glyceride, no? An acyl glyceride, that aside from esters of fatty acids and glycerol, you have phosphoester linkages, no, with another alcohol. Okay? That alcohol may be any of the following. No? It may be inositol, it may be serine, it may be glycerol, no? Sino pang kulang ko? It may also be choline, no? Ayan. So, may slide ako for that, no? Ayan. Okay, so basta ang dapat yung tandaan with the complex lipid is that aside from fatty acids esterified to the glycerol molecule, no? There is a phosphate ester bond, okay, with another alcohol, no? With your glycerol. All right? Ayan, so that's a complex lipid. An example is here, yung lecithin, no? So, yung alcohol na nakakonect sa kanya, ayan, so, bilugan muna natin yung mga dapat bilugan. This is your glycerol. Ayan, so, this is your glycerol moiety. Ayan, so, yan yung glycerol moiety. Tapos, you have here the fatty acid. And ito yung fatty acid connected via ester linkages. Ayan. And then, meron kang phosphate. Ayan, palitan natin yung color. Ayan, meron kang phosphate. Sana makita yung difference, no? Ayan, so it's yung phosphate group, okay? And then there is another alcohol over here. Kita ba yung green? Ayan, so ito yung alcohol. This is your ethanol amine. Okay? Yeah, so this is an example. This is your lecithin. All right? Yeah, so that is an example of a complex lipid. All right? Okay. Next, we have, actually, tatalon ako doon sa dito. Ang gula na. Ayan. Okay. Now, yeah, so let's go back to the definition of your triglycerides or your triacyl glycerols. Ayan, so meron kang fatty acids and then you have your glycerol. Okay? Now, what do you call the reaction between an alcohol like glycerol and yung fatty acid? Anong tawag sa reaction na yun in your organic chemistry? It's called letter E. Search nila ni E. S, correct. Esterification. No? Ayan. Kasi nga, no, the bonds that are formed between glycerol and the fatty acid ay tinatawag natin na ester linkages. Alright? Gets? Ayan. Now, meron pang isa pang test. Ayan. So, sa mga triacyl glycerols. Okay? So, ano yung isa kanina? Acrolein test. No? It is a test for glycerol, for the presence of glycerol. Alright? Now, there's another test, no, for your triglycerides, no, and it is salt formation. Okay? Ano naman yung salt formation? Okay? So, when you hydrolyze, no, under alkaline conditions, your glycerides, okay, they will form the sodium or potassium salt of the fatty acid. Okay? So, ang sinasabi ko na, no, is that pag pinalitan natin ito, and so let us reverse the process. And so pag binaliktad ko ito, I have here the ester. Oops. Ayan. Okay. So di ba, I have here the ester. Ito si ester. Okay. Ayan. And then the reaction moving forward is called esterification. Alright? Now, if I use a base, no, gagamit ako ng base, let's say potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide, KOH, or sodium hydroxide. Ayan. The esters, no, will be converted to sodium or potassium salt of the fatty acid. And that is your soap, sabon. Okay? Ayan. Kaya ang tawag sa reaction ay saponification. Okay? Ayan. So, the term is saponification. So, soap formation is a test for your triglycerides. Ayan, saponification. Soap formation. Alright? Ayan, so, syempre, ano ba yung properties ng soap? It can emulsify fats. No? Ayan, pwede niyang mapag-mix yung fats with water. Ayun yung tinatawag natin na emulsification. Okay? And syempre, nagpo-foam siya, bumubuga. Okay? Ayan, so yun yung positive test result. Okay? That we tend to observe in saponification. Alright? Gets? Okay. Now, the fatty acid content, no, the fatty acid content of your glycerides may be saturated or unsaturated. Okay? Pag saturated yung fatty acids that are present in the glycerides, yun yung tinatawag natin na fats. Okay? Pag saturated, yun yung tinatawag natin na fats. So pag saturated, yan, ang tawag natin sa napoproduce niya ay fats. Ayan, okay, fats. And then, kapag unsaturated naman yung fatty acids that are found in your triglycerides, that's where you have your fixed oils. Ayan. So, fats and fixed oils, no, are the triglycerides, no, that we know. Okay? So ngayon, pag-usapan natin ng maigi yung fats and fixed oils. Okay? What do we know about these triglycerides? Okay? So fats, no, are made up of usually saturated fatty acids. Okay? They are solid at room temperature. Okay? So yun yung fats. Okay? Remember that it is a property of your saturated fatty acids na they are solid at room temperature. Okay? Kaya these fats are solid at room temperature. Okay? Isipin nyo na lang, ganito, para hindi mahirap isipin. Yung ano, di ba, pag nakakita ka ng taba ng baboy, no? O kaya taba ng baka, o kaya taba ng bilbil natin, okay? Kahit na ayaw natin, no? Kahit na ayaw natin na ano, mag-liquefy na lang siya, solid yan. No? Solid yan. No? It's because of the saturated fatty acids. Kung pwede lang sanang liquid yun, no? O liquid yun, hindi dapat lumalabas. Ang pinipigaw ng ganun lumalabas. No? Kaso ayaw talaga eh. No? Alright, so yun yung fats. So we tend to relate yung mga fats to animals. Okay? Ayan, so usually fats are sourced from animals. Okay? However, not all animals produce fats. Okay? Or yung solid na triglycerides. Oh, you have the fish oils. Okay? Diba? Fish oils. For example, cod liver oil. Ayan. Cod liver oil is used as a source of vitamin A and B. Right? That's familiar na dosage form. Cod liver oil emulsion. Okay, so cod liver oil is a fish oil. Okay, along with the fish oils, okay, lahat sila ay mayroong laman na tinatawag natin PUFAs, no? PUFAs, no? PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. Okay? Ayan, so because they contain polyunsaturated fatty acids, fish oils are liquid at room temperature. Okay? Ayan, so again, saturated fats are saturated, solid at room temperature, okay? They usually come from animals except for cod liver oil, no? Which does not really contain fats, no? Because of high amounts of polyunsaturated fatty acids, they contain fixed oils. Alright? Now, pag sinabi naman natin fixed oil, so kabaliktaran ng lahat. Okay? So the fatty acid present in your glyceride ay unsaturated. Okay? Unsaturated. They are liquid at room temperature, di ba? Pag nagluto ako, yung mantika na gagamitin ko, vegetable oil, lauric oil, palm oil, canola oil, pag mayaman-yaman, olive oil, no? Yan. Pag mas mayaman pa, extra virgin olive oil. Yan. So, di ba, pag ano talaga eh, no? Pag may money to spare, no? Extra virgin olive oil in my salad. Ayan. So why is my salad, no? Ayan, green, no? It's because of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, so they are liquid at room temperature, all right? And they mostly come from plants, right? So yun yung mga fixed oils, all right? Plants. Except, yeah, meron na naman tayo except. All of them are liquid, no? All plant oils are liquid except for your cocoa butter, no? Ayan, si theobroma oil na tinatawag. Okay, so familiar with theobroma oil or cocoa butter. Ayan. So, ayan, sigat natin dito. Yes, galing sa theobroma cacao. This is your cocoa butter. Ayan. So, theobroma oil or cocoa butter is solid at room temperature, no? Ayan. In fact, your theobroma oil or cocoa butter is used as a base for suppositories. Diba? Ayan. Kasi it melts at body temperature. Okay? Ayan. So, yun yung tandaan nyo, no? Yung mga exempt, yan, ang hilig-hilig niyan sa mga exempt, no? Ayan. So, kung pwede lang tandaan lahat ng exemptions, bakit kasi yung mga exceptions yung laging tinatandaan, hindi ba pwedeng yung sa kanya na lang, no? Lagi mo hinahanap yung wala, no? Okay, so hugot na naman, no? Okay, so that's the difference, no? Now, ano pa yung sasabihin ko? Okay. Yan. Okay. So sa realm ng biochemistry hanggang doon lang tayo, no? But in pickle, no, in pharmacology, meron pang isa kasi, waxes, pero hindi naman siya kasali dito. So focus na lang muna tayo sa dalawang yan. So you have your fats and your fixed oils. No? There's another test. Yeah, so there's another test for your fixed oils, no? Your fats and fixed oils. Okay? So tatlo na, no? Ay, pangatlo na to, no? So you have your acrylate test, which is a test for the glycerol. Okay? The second one is a modification test, so formation, no? A test for the triglycerides, right? The third one, no? The third test ay this is a test to differentiate fixed oils from volatile oils. And it is called the grease spot test. Okay? Yeah, so familiar with grease spot test? Ayan, sulat natin. Grease spot test. Ayan, grease spot test. Alright? So ano tong grease spot test? Basically, you put the oil, no, on a paper, you allow it to evaporate or you allow it to stand for quite some time. If it does not evaporate, no, if it remains, then it is a fixed oil. Okay? Ayan. Pag nawala siya, pag nag-disappear siya, then it is a volatile oil. Alright? Ayan. So this test is a test to differentiate fixed oils from volatile oils. That is where, no, sa test na ito, nanggaling yung term na fixed oil. Okay? Fixed. Kaya siya fixed oil kasi naka-fix sa papel. Correct? Hindi siya nawawala sa papel. No? Yung fixed oil, parang fixed assets. No? Dapat hindi nawawala yung fixed assets. Pero yung iba, inuwi yung yung refrigerator, inuwi yung electric fan. So, fixed assets na nawawala. No? Ayan. Lalo na pag sa gobyerno. I worked in UP before. So, medyo alam natin yung mga kalakaran. Alright. Now, we are done with your simple lipids, no? Yung triglycerides. Punta muna tayo doon sa inyong fatty acids for us to understand better, no? These fatty acids. Right? So, medyo marami ito. Ako gusto ko magsulat na sa board kasi medyo marami akong sasabihin tungkol din. Okay. So, anyway, nakikita naman ng online world yung ito, yung table na yan. Importante to. Okay. Ayan, okay. Now, we have the saturate. Dahil di makita ng mga nasa physical world, magsusulat ako sa board for those who are here present right now. Pero yan din yan. Right? Buhay natin ito. Ayun, turahin ko eh. Ayan po tayo. Ganyan to, di ba? 8-4. So, tayo to. Akala ko may kinder na nag-video. Alright. So, remember this, no? Na, of course, you have your acetic acid. Familiar naman tayo dito. Acetic acid is your CH3 COOH, no? Ayan. So there are two carbons in your acetic acid. Alright? Tapos, after the acetic acid, no, you have your propanoic acid. Propanoic acid. Ayan. So this is your CH3, CH2, COOH. Ayan. So this is a C3, no, carboxylic acid. Right? Remember that these are not considered as fatty acids. Okay, so these are not considered as fatty acids. Kasi they are soluble in water. Okay, so hindi sila fatty acids. Right? Now when we go to C4, pagdating natin sa C4, you now have your butyric acid. Ayan. Butyric acid is also known as your butanoic acid. Okay, so yun yung ito. Ayan, so butanoic acid. So hindi ko na isusulat kasi pahaba lang naman siya ng pahaba. No? There are 4 carbons in butyric acid. No? So sige, sulat na lang natin. CH3, CH2, 2, COOH. Yeah, so that's your butyric acid. Okay, that's also your butanoic acid. All right. So after the butyric acid, you have your caproic acid, caprylic acid, and capric acid. Yan yung tatlong C's. Okay? Yan, caproic, caprylic, capric. Okay? Yan. So caproic, caprylic, capric. Alright? Ayan. So for caproic acid, siya yung C6. Okay? Caprylic is C8. Tapos capric is C10. Okay? Ayan. Notice na as we elongate the chain, okay? As we elongate the chain, we simply add 2 carbons. Naglalagay lang tayo ng 2 carbons bawat isa. Alright? And now, from C4 onwards, so dire-diretso yan, these are already considered your fatty acids. Ayan. For those who are online, no, what you are seeing on the screen right now, all of these are fatty acids. Alright? Okay. Yeah, so yan din yung susulat ko sa board. Hindi lang masyado mabasa ng mga nasa physical world. Alright? Ayan. C6, C8, C10. No? Ayan yung tatlong Cs. Caproic, caprylic, capric. Okay? Tapos, we have the next ones. No? CP, CLN, tapos PSA. Yan. Actually, hanggang dito lang usually yung kailangan natin. No? So, we add 2 more carbons each, C12, C14, C16, C18, and then C20. Okay? Ayan. So, tandaan, no? From C10, yan, from C10, which is capric acid, okay? Ito yung code natin, okay? Sino dito yung yung may first name na letter C? First name. Letter C? 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 Okay naman C. Letter P yun eh. Sino yung letter C na first name? Syra. Syra. Ako Syra din. Pero letter C yung kanya. Okay, so letter C si Syra. Ayan. Tapos, L. Sino yung L? Luis. Ayan. Luis din yung doon sa last class na dinuruan ko. So, Syra and Luis make public service announcement. No? Ayan, para madaling tandaan. Okay? So, again, ulitin natin ha. Syra and Luis made public service announcement. Okay? Ayan, may PSA. Hindi hindi PDA no? Ayan, mamaya kasi sabi niyo, Syra and Luis made public display of affection, no? Hindi, no? Ayan. So, public service announcement, no? Ayan, okay? Ayan, so, ginising ko lang kayo, kasi kailangan mag-lunch. Okay, so CLMPSA, no? So L is lauric acid. Ayan. So those are online, no? Ayan, pakinggan nyo na lang yung boses ko. Yan. So CPL, PSA, no? Ayan. So Syra and Luis make public service announcement. Okay? Ayan. So ito na siya. Capric acid, lauric acid, no? Myristic acid, tapos palmitic acid, stearic acid, ayan, and arachidic acid. Ayan. So all of these are saturated fatty acids. No? So these are saturated fatty acids. Ayan. Of course, tanggalin na natin to panggulo, acetic and propanoic acid. Ayan. So you have your saturated fatty acid. No? Ayan. So para madaling tandaan, from C4 to C20, you always add 2 carbons. Okay? Simulan natin kay butyric acid, tapos CC, no? C, caproic, caprilic, no? And then CLMPSA, no? So si capric, capric, lauric, myristic, no? Palmitic, stearic, and arachidic acid, no? Until C20. Alright? Ayan. So yan yung mga dapat yung i-memorize, no? Na mga fatty acids. Alright? Now, doon sa mga nasa online, may nakikita kayo dito ng mga codes. So may nakikita kayong codes. For example, si myristic acid, nakalagay dyan 14-0. Okay? Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng 14-0? Magsusulat ako sa board para naman dun sa mga nasa physical world. Ayan. Okay. So 14-0. Ayan, saan yun? So 14-0 si myristic. Ayan. So 14-0. Ayan. Remember na the first number refers to the number of carbons in the fatty acid. Okay? And then the second number refers to the number of unsaturated bonds. Okay? Yan. Dahil wala siyang unsaturation, kasi nga saturated fatty acids, 14-0. Alright? Ayan. So, ganyan kasi yung shortcut. No? Ayan, shortcut nomenclature for your fatty acids. Alright? Clear tayo doon? Ayan. So now, puntahan naman natin yung mga unsaturated fatty acids. Ayan. Labo talaga, no? So dahil dyan, susulat ako ulit sa board. Ayan. For the next amino acids, okay, medyo meron din siyang pattern. But medyo kakaiba, no? Medyo kakaiba yung pattern natin. Okay, so let me just erase this one. Okay? To those who are online, don't worry kung ano yung nakikita niyo sa screen, yan din yung sinusunod ko sa board. Ay, hindi lang nila makita. No? Ayan. Now remember, the fatty, papato na. Ayan. Remember the fatty acids in your triglycerides may be fat saturated or unsaturated. Meron na tayo sa unsaturated. Okay? For the unsaturated fatty acids, it's almost the same. Okay? So simulan natin kay palmito leic acid. Ayan. Remember that in the saturated fatty acids, no, palmitic acid is your C16. Diba? Siya si C16, no? PSA, no? Ayan. PSA, 16, 18, 20. Alright? So, palmitic acid, siya yung C16. Tapos, lagyan mo lang siya ng oleic acid. Siya na ngayon si C16, no? 1. Tapos, or tanggalin ko na yung C pala. Tapos, 9C. Alright? Yeah, so now, let's define what these numbers are. Okay? Ayan. So, para mag-gets ko ano yung numbers ito, ayan, taga lang. Meron akong ifa-flash. Ay, mali. Yung nililid ko. Ayan. Oops. Hindi pa tayo mag-alit. Ay. Ayan. So, for the benefit of those who are online, ayan, ito yung tingnan nyo. Ayan. Tapos, habang sa mga nasa physical world naman, isusulat natin ito. Okay. Ayan. Okay. Yeah, for the unsaturated fatty acids, again, the first number is the number of carbons in the molecule. Okay? Palmitoleic acid, galing sa palmitic acid. Alright? Nilagyan mo lang siya ng oleic acid kasi denotes na may double bond. Okay? So 16-1. Okay? So 16-1. 1 refers to the unsaturation. So ibig sabihin, there is one double bond present in the molecule. There is one C double bond C, okay, in the molecule. 16 carbons. And then this one refers to the position of the double bond. Okay? Ayan. So anong ibig sabihin nun? If I were to draw palmitoleic acid, okay? Ayan, so mag-drawing tayo ng palmitoleic acid. Ayan, magtatanong ako ulit. Familiar with the skeletal structure? Ayan. So, lahat ng tuldok, carbon. Okay? Ayan. So, lahat ng points, carbon. Okay? Pinakita ko lang, in-expand ko lang yung last carbon. Alright? So, there are 16 carbons. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Ayan. So, basically, no, yan yung palmitoleic acid. Huwag niyo muna i-drawing, may mali pa dito. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, 16. Alright? Ayan. So there are 16 carbons. There is one double bond. No? There is one double bond which is present at position number 9. Okay? Ayan. So yun yung ibig sabihin nun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9. Okay? Nandun daw yung double bond. Kaya natin double bond. Okay? However, the double bond is cis. Okay, ayan. So familiar kayo sa cis and trans. Ayan, so this is your cis. This is, magdadrawing ako, hold on, nasa online world. Ayan. So this is cis, this is trans. Okay? Ayan. So, drawing muna tayo sa ito yung cis. Tapos ito yung trans. All right. So these are configurations. No? These are configurations. So remember, pag sinabing cis, no? The two groups are on the same side of the double bond. Okay, cis, same side of the double bond. Cis, no? So this one and this one, they are on the same side of the double bond. Okay. So for the online world, this one and this one, no, are on the same side of the double bond. So cis, no? Pag sinabing trans, the two groups are on opposite sides of the double bond. Okay? They are both configurations. No? So ito yung trans, dito yung isa, dito yung isa. No? Na-cross tayo doon sa double bond. No? So trans. Alright? Now, para madaling tandaan, ito yung lagi ko sinasabi. Ay, no? Although hindi ito misogynistic in any way, no? Yung mga girls kasi talaga, no? Uy sis, labas tayo, CR ako. Sige sis, CR tayo. Yan. Sabay sila, no? May CR. No? Ayan, di ba ganun madalas, no? Tapos, that's normal. No? Pero pag yung boys, uy, pre, CR tayo. Parang kasama, no? Pag gano'n, no? Parang may gina-judge agad, no? Yan. Pag girls, okay lang. Kasi nga, sis, laging magkasama, di ba? Sis, on the same side, magkasama. Yun. Tapos yung isa, yung hindi cis, trans. Okay? Huwag na natin ituloy yun. Okay. I may not be politically correct anymore. Okay. So, dahil cis, yung fatty acid natin, we have to convert this configuration. Right? Yeah, so to those who are online, hold on. We will get back to you. Ayan. So 9, 10, so 9 plus 10, tapos 11, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Alright? Ayan. So ganyan siya. Okay? So this is the structure of your palmitoleic acid. No? This is a cis configuration. Okay? Ayan, so cis also, another symbol that we have is Z. For trans is E. Okay? Ayan, so Z, zis. Ayan, Z, zis. Tapos, so Z, zis. Ayan, hold on, nakakalimutan ko naka-microphone pala ako. So zis, tapos trans, E. Okay? Okay. Ayan. So that's your cis configuration. Now remember that all fatty acids all naturally occurring fatty acids are cis. Okay? And then, trans is not good. Okay? Trans fats. Diba? Diba lagi sinasabi yan sa commercial. No? Walang cholesterol, walang trans fats. And kasi trans fats no, are products of hydrogenation, okay, of the fats and oils, no? Ayan, so alam niyo ba na some synthetic products that we use, like margarine, for example, okay? Yung margarine ay isang hydrogenated, no? Hydrogenated siya na fat. Okay? Ayan, hindi talaga siya totoo naturally occurring, no? Now, sometimes in the process of converting your oil, no, into a fat by hydrogenating it, okay, nagpo-produce ka ngayon ng trans fats. Alright? Ayan, which is not good for you because your body cannot metabolize trans fats very well. Okay? So, ang kaya niya lang ay yung cis. Okay? Kaya cis is good. Alright? Ayan. Nakita ko sa time, 6 minutes pa, no? So, tapusin natin, no? Mga siguro extend tayo ng mga 28 minutes. Sita joke. Ayan. Ayan. Parang kinabahan sila. Alright. So, ano sasabihin ko? So, clear naman tayo doon. So, all naturally occurring, no? Unsaturated fatty acids are cis in configuration. Alright? Ayan. Next. Ayan. Daanan lang natin yung iba, no? Bukas ko na yung structure ng palmitoric acid. Kaya punta na tayo dun sa iba pang mga fatty acids. Another one very common fatty acid is your oleic acid. Okay? For those who are online, siya lang yung nasa next na, next na line. Oleic acid is C18. There are 18 carbons. There is one double bond, okay? That is present at position number 9 as well. Okay? 18-1. Okay? Ayan. So, that's your oleic acid. Ayan. Tapos, yung next important, the other important fatty acid here is linoleic acid. Ayan. So, magdagdag ka lang ng lin. Okay? Ayan. So, linoleic acid. Alright? So, ito ay 18 carbon pa rin. Okay? There are two double bonds present at positions 9 and 12. Okay? Ayan. So, yan yung tandaan niya sa kanya, no? Linoleic acid, 18 carbons, two double bonds, no? Two double bonds C at positions 9 and 12. Siyempre, Cs, no? Yung configuration. And then we have your linolenic acid. Yan, linolenic acid. Meron tayong alpha, meron tayong gamma, linolenic acid. Okay? Ayan. Now, both of these are C18 fatty acids. Okay? Ayan. So, those who are online, andito lang siya. No? Andito siya sa part na ito. Ito. Ayan, ito siya. Ito. Alright? Okay, so sana nakita niyo siya. Okay, so alpha linolenic acid and gamma linolenic acid. So para madaling tandaan, tapos na kasi si linoleic acid. Parang dito yan. Ito si palmitoleic acid, C16, tapos E18 oleic acid, tapos linoleic acid. Diba? Ayan, so C18-2. Okay? Next, linolenic acid, Nick na siya, no? Nick. Okay? Nadagdagan ng isang letra. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, nadagdagan din na double bond. Okay? So, instead of having two double bonds, there are three double bonds. No? Three C double bonds no? In the molecule. For alpha linolenic acid, it is at positions 9, 12, and 15. Ayan. Okay? And then for gamma-linolenic acid, it is at position 6, 9, and 12. Okay? Now, did you notice anything? So, sabi natin, sa saturated fatty acids, no, we just add 2 carbons. No? Yan kasi, in the biosynthesis of fatty acids, which we'll discuss in a little while, no, after lunch, uh, ang dinadagdag kasi natin sa molecule ay yung acetyl-CoA. No? And acetyl-CoA galing sa acetic acid. Diba? Eh nakita niyo yung structure ng acetic acid kanina, dalawa yung carbon nun. Okay? So laging dalawang carbons yung nadadagdag, no, in the structure of the fatty acid. Alright? Now, when it comes to the double bonds, no, when it comes to the double bonds, it's the fatty acid. Sulat ko rin to sa board. Hold on lang a moment. Fatty acid oxygenase. Dehydrogenase. Or C delta 9 desaturase. Yan. These enzymes, yan. So malapit na tayo matapos. Kailangan ko lang i-type siya dito sa board. So fatty acid dehydrogenase. Or C desaturase. Okay, and so these enzymes are responsible for introducing the double bonds in the molecule. Ayaw mo maalala. Ayan, okay. Ayan, so isa lang naman yung pangalan ng, pareho lang yan. Okay? Delta 9 desaturase or the fatty acid dehydrogenase, no? They introduce double bonds in the structure of the fatty acid. Alright? Tapos, the double bonds, no, are introduced every 3 carbons. Okay? Yeah, so yun din yung tandaan nyo, no? Every 3 carbons naman. So from 9, napunta sa 12. Okay? From 12, napunta sa 15. Okay? Dito, 6, napunta sa 9, napunta sa 12. Alright? Ayan. So, yan yung dapat nyo tandaan when it comes to these amino acids, these fatty acids. Alright? One last, no, before we end, i-drawing natin yung alpha-linolenic acid at saka yung gamma-linolenic acid. Okay? And i-drawing ko rin to sa board, which I will make available afterwards, no? Pag nag-break tayo, inawan. So this is carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, tapos 10, 11, 12, plus 13, 14, asa na? 15, 16, 17, 18. Ayan, ulit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 10, 9, 10, 11, tapos 12, double 1, 13, 14, 15, double 1, 16, 17, 18. Okay? Ayan. So this is your alpha-linolenic acid. Ayan. Don't worry, that's pa nasa online. No? Isusulat ko to. Just give me time. I-drawing ko lang muna siya sa board. Ayan. So this is your alpha-linolenic acid. Okay? Now, if you look at the structure of your alpha-linolenic acid, okay, where is the position of the double bond, no? With reference to the terminal carbon. Okay, so ano ba yung ibig sabihin natin ng terminal carbon? The terminal carbon is the last carbon. Ito. Okay? With respect to the terminal carbon, pangilan yung double bond in your alpha-linolenic acid. Okay? So magbibilang tayo patras, no? 1, 2, 3. Nasa third position. Okay? That's why your alpha-linolenic acid is known as omega-3 fatty acid. Alright? And so siya si omega-3 fatty acid. Nagets? Yan. So ganun lang, no? To identify an omega-3 fatty acid, just look at the structure. Okay? If the double bond exists, no, 3 carbons from the terminus, no, of the fatty acid, that is an omega-3 fatty acid. Alright? Now, tingnan natin si gamma-linolenic acid. No? So, in the interest of time, no, pakita ko na lang sa inyo yung shortcut. May shortcut kasi yun. Just look at the last fatty acid na mayroong unsaturation. Okay? For alpha-linolenic acid, for those who are online, just follow me. Ayan. For alpha-linolenic acid, ayan, the last carbon with the unsaturation is 15. Okay? Ito siya, 15. Ayan. Ito, 15. Okay? So since 18 carbons siya, 18 minus 15 is 3. So omega 3 fatty acid, si alpha linolenic acid. Alright? And then, si gamma linolenic acid, 12, yung last double bond niya. No? So 18 minus 12 is 6. So it is an omega 6 fatty acid. Alright? Nagets? Di ba? Simple lang. And, tapos may isa pa akong clue sa inyo. No? If you suddenly forget, sino ba si alpha, sino si gamma? Ganito lang yun. Si alpha yung nauna. No? Nauna, nakatulad ni oleic acid. Remember, oleic acid starts with carbon 9, yung double bond. No? The double bond of oleic acid starts at 9. So si alpha-linolenic acid, nag-start yung double bond niya sa 9. Yung hindi nag-start sa 9, yun si gamma. Okay? So yun na yun. Okay? So syempre nauna ka edi ko yung alpha. Okay? Eh yung isa naman, no? Kahit na 6C, yung unang double bond niya, hindi siya yung kamukha ni oleic acid. Diba? So siya si gamma. Alright? Ayun. Para hindi tayong magilito sa kanila. Alright? Very last na lang, no? I want you to look at the structures, no? Kaya sabi nga ni Sir Rowell, no, if you have the PowerPoint, although I have this in the PDF, ay yung handouts ninyo. Si eicosapentaenoic acid, no? Eicosapentaenoic acid is C20. Okay? Magbura lang muna tayo. C20, clear all drawings. Ayan, so si eicosapentaenoic acid, ito yun. Ayan. C20 siya with 5 unsaturation. Ito. Alam ko yung mga nandito sa physical world, hindi na nila nakikita ko and I'm really sorry about that. Pero ito na lang. Remember, eicosapentaenoic acid is an omega-3 fatty acid because the last double bond is at position number 17. No? Ayan, eicosapentaenoic acid, that's your EPA. Alright? Next, another important molecule is DPA. No? Ayan. Susulat ko na lang sa board itong mga to. Ayan. Docosapentaenoic acid, DPA. Its last double bond is at position 19. Ito. 3 carbons away from its terminus. It's also an omega-3 fatty acid. And then lastly, we have docosahexaenoic acid. Ayan. Ito yung docosahexaenoic acid. Ayan. At also at carbon 19, yung last niya na double bond, C22. So it's also an omega-3 fatty acid. Yeah, for the benefit of those who are physically present, isusulat ko sila on the board. Yes. Ayan. So remember that the following are known as your omega-3 fatty acids, your alpha-linolenic acid, sa pentaenoic acid, EPA, your docosapentaenoic acid, DPA, and your docosahexaenoic acid, or DHA. No? And these omega-3 fatty acids are abundant in fish oils. Okay? And they are known to support the growth and development of the brain. Okay? Ayan, so yun yung importance of your omega-3 fatty acids as well as your omega-6 fatty acid, no? And all of these fatty acids are known as PUFAs, no? PUFAs, no? They are polyunsaturated fatty acids, no? Which are important in the development of the brain, no? Ayan, okay? Ayan, so we'll end muna at this point, no? Ayan, so you have stayed long enough for the overtime. Ayan, so any questions so far bago tayo mag-proceed? Ayan, sa lunch. Ayan. Bago tayo mag-proceed sa next na topic. Ayan. Kumukulo na yun siya. Alright, so after lunch, no, I'll try to fix whatever I can fix. No? I think ang mali ko is I updated the software and it cannot be detected by the tablet. No? Yun. So, but we'll see. Yeah, so after this, we'll talk about, ayan, nandun na tayo sa phospholipids. Ayan. Diba? Kaya mahalaga yung sinunod ko dyan. Simple lipids, punta tayo sa complex lipids. Alright? Ayan. So, I'll see you in a while. Thank you. For those who are online, magdodrawing lang ako ng drawing ko sa board dito. No? Hold on. One o'clock. Or it's kind of 1:10. 1 hour. 1 hour. Pwede na transfer.
Sir, excuse me po, sir.
Ayun, sir, nakakapag-drawing ka na. Sir, kunin ko muna yung host na. Hindi, para i-save ko na tong, sir, itong na-record na natin.